So in this video, I will talk a bit about Warframe, a game that I rediscovered recently. Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tweetunder. So why Warframe 3? Why Warframe out of all the things that you could be playing? How did this start? Why did this all begin? Well, believe it or not, I actually played this game 2 years ago, maybe even 3, but I don't remember much. And I think so Steam says that I played this game for 27 minutes. If that's actually true, then that's probably the reason why I don't remember much. And how we rediscovered it recently is somebody streamed it. Somebody that I followed on Twitch by the name of John Bain, aka Total Biscuit, streamed this, and after his second stream I decided to try it out for myself. Mostly due to him saying that it's improved a lot since 2 years ago, I think it was, that he said. And well, I'm still waiting for Overwatch, so why not? By the way, the beta is next week. It's coming back next week. So what is Warframe? Well, Warframe is a multiplayer. Multiplayer as in the main part of the game is 4-player co-op. There are a few exceptions, but for the main part is 4-player co-op. So it's a multiplayer ability shooter. I think that's the description that comes closest. And you can also play it by yourself, by the way. It scales the difficulty with the amount of players. And the game is also currently still in beta, which means it's mostly still in development. And what is the goal of the game? Well, the goal is basically to acquire everything that's in the game. Much like the game's Diablo. Diablo is also a bit like that, and Borderlands is probably another example. It's a game about loot, about getting more stuff. In this game it also progresses a little bit. You gear up, you put upgrade parts in your gear, which are called mods, and so on. So there are some good and some bad things about it in this game, like with every game. For instance, gameplay. The gameplay is absolutely fantastic. This is one of the best gameplay that I've seen in a very long time. It's smooth, it is satisfying, gunplay is really good. You can use abilities, and the abilities also feel really good. And then there is the melee combat, which is really, really in depth. There's a lot of different things that you can do, combat combos and such. And this is probably in games like whether it is Diablo or Team Fortress 2, I usually hate melee combat. I'm like the person that wants to be a ranged character in any game. But in this game, I actually really like the melee combat, and I think that says something. But the problem with it is that it's very repetitive. The gameplay is always going to be the same. It's really good, but it's really repetitive. There's also a lot of maneuverability and parkour elements. You have a double jump, you can have a bullet jump, which is much like the rocket jump in Team Fortress 2. You hold down, crouch, and then you press the jump button, and then it launches you forwards in the direction you're aiming at. And you can go quite fast doing that. The game also supports multiple playstyles, going from just washing through a level as quickly as possible, shooting every enemy you see, to stealth gameplay. Now, I have to say something about the stealth to it. The stealth is absolutely stupid in this game. I had moments where I just landed from 20 meters high, make a loud noise landing right behind an enemy, and the enemy doesn't hear me. If you're not standing right in front of the enemy, they don't see you for some reason. It needs completely redesign. And for some reason, if I fire a gun that is not silenced, the entire room suddenly comes after me. It's really needs to redesign the stealth mechanics of this game. But this game is also let's be honest, you can see it by the gameplay here, it's really cool. This game just has a very high cool factor, let's just call it. You're a fucking badass futuristic super soldier. And the super soldiers are called Warframes, or Tenno. Sometimes in the game, in the lore, they are referred to as Tenno, and in some of the mentions it's called Warframe, so I'm not sure which one to use. My favorite character, I think so far, has to be Obi-Wan. you probably see most of my gameplay of. And supposedly he's not that good, as most players say. I actually think he's alright, but he just looks very cool. And that's the thing with most of these characters you can play as, these Warframes, is that they look really cool. They are very well designed. Some of them look really weird, I have to admit, but most of them look really cool. They clearly spent a lot of time designing these characters. But regardless, let's come back on that repetitive thing. As I said, the gameplay is really repetitive. It's really good, but really repetitive, and that's not really even mentioning all of the grinding that's in the game. They do try to vary things up a little bit. Obviously, they can go with different Warframes. You have different Warframes. Those are different characters. Those are basically like the classes. Well, not really classes, but characters in the game. And they do try to vary things up with adding multiple of those. And there's also the Arc Wing, which is like basically it's space combat. And I have to admit, in the beginning, I really loved Arc Wing missions. But I started to actually really hate him. There's actually like one I can't physically complete by myself. I need like help. Which I prefer to play by myself, to be honest, rather than with other people. Now the grinding. The grinding is huge in this game. You can reduce it by paying a lot of money, which is the business model, which I'll come back to. But there's a huge grinding of this game. And there's also like a chain of things. Like, for example, if I want to get like a certain Warframe, a certain character, I have to, for example, like first unlock the planet, and then I have to like beat a bunch of missions to get it, do that one mission that I need to beat. It's like a chain of things. You need to do this to get this, and so on. And it's really annoying. It's also one of the causes of sometimes having too much to do in this game. That's a problem that I've sometimes found myself, which is not really a problem, because at least you're not bored, but it's also the main reason why I played like 120 hours in 2 weeks, which for me is unheard of. Like, it's so rare for me to play a game this much. It's also really difficult to get into this game, actually, I've noticed. You definitely need to use the wiki, because there are a lot of things that the game doesn't tell you. It took me a while to notice that on the character equipment screen thingy, there's like a mod button on the bottom right, which immediately just takes you to the mod upgrade screen. And mods, by the way, are basically just upgrade parts for your weapons and warframes, if you don't know what the mods are. But it took me a while to notice that, and also like a different mode button to upgrade your warframe. And it took me a while to figure out how to actually upgrade your warframe. And the game doesn't really tell you. There are a lot of tutorials in the game, but there are also lots of things that the game doesn't tell you. For example, also where to get a certain item or a certain warframe, and you definitely need to use the wiki to do that. Now the business model, very important thing. This is a free-to-play game. So what is the business model? The business model mainly consists of either cosmetics items or getting stuff quicker. So you could say that this game is maybe slightly pay to win, yes, because like a paying customer is going to be able to get stuff quicker. Like you can actually like buy weapons with platinum is the in-game currency, which a free-to-player can actually get by trading with other people. So it's not impossible for a free-to-play player to get. But the paying customer is definitely going to get some advantages, because he can just immediately buy a weapon or warframe that he wants, instead of having to grind the different components for it and everything. But take me for example. I played this game for over 200 hours now. I haven't paid a single cent. So you're probably going to be fine as a free-to-play player if you don't want to pay anything. But to be honest, the game is mostly PvE, so it doesn't really matter even if this game was really pay to win. It has a PvP mode, but that works with some sort of rating system, conclave rating. I've actually not done any PvP, so I don't really know, but it does seem to like balance things out. It does seem to, I think it does put you with people that have about the same rating, so about the same level of equipment as you. Now, graphics wise, this game looks really great. It runs well too, it runs better than Team Fortress 2, the command system, and looks way better. Team Fortress 2 that drops below 100 FPS pretty frequently for me. And this game just runs smooth all the time, no significant FPS drops, apart from maybe an area where a lot of players, because you do have this relays where people can trade, and those there, my frame rate does drop a little bit. The levels are also like RNG based, which I found really interesting. From a preset of rooms, it's a bit like Binding of Isaac, if you will. Like the rooms are pre-built. The rooms always stay the same, but it shifts positions, and sometimes one door is locked, and sometimes the door is open, and so on. And a big problem that the game has is there are still a lot of bugs, which is probably the reason why this game is still in beta. Because content-wise, this game shouldn't be in beta anymore. I mean, there's just a ton of content you really need to catch up if you want to get into this game. But that's probably the reason why it's still in beta, because of just a lot of bugs, some of which are pretty game-breaking. Like me getting stuck, and as a result having to abandon the mission because I can't go anywhere anymore, and I can't complete a mission. To me just getting out of the level. Story-wise, I'll be honest, I don't know anything about the story. The game does try to give you a little bit of info via it does give you a couple of quests that you can do over time. But the quests, I'll be honest, the quests kind of suck. They generally need you to do something very specific, and it's really difficult and annoying to do. So I don't really like the quests, and story-wise, I'll be honest, I don't really. The game just looks badass, and that's all I care, to be honest. So as a conclusion, overall a great game. It is repetitive, and it has a lot of grinding, especially as a free-to-play player. But again, it is really good, and I'll probably play more of it. However, the Overwatch beta is going to be back up next week, so I'll probably spend most of my time refreshing my Battle.net page. Now, I would want to say a lot more about this game, but I'm already far over 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some extra info in the description, including a guide how to get started in this game if you're interested, and also a referral link. If you make an account via that link, I will get some free in-game stuff, and I would love to have that. Thanks for watching. Take care, folks.